Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to 2019. I cannot believe it's a new year. It's a new beginning. It's not a new beginning, but it's a fresh start where you can really decide how you are going to set the tone for this year. And I choose to be happy and to just live my best life this year. And I hope that you guys do the same. But I'm not gonna ramble on about what we're gonna plan to do in 2019, which I actually would like to do like a get ready with me video where we talk about our New Year's resolutions and whatnot. I think that'd be super cool. But today I'm here to talk about foundations. So I figured the best way to start my 2019 is by doing a video on a recap of pretty much the best foundations in my opinion of 2018. Like I haven't been on camera in a hot second and I got my filming studio together again. Like I just was cleaning it, I decluttered. I just feel like I'm in such a good space right now and a good head to start the new year. So I'm just like, yes. So anyways, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into these foundations. So I don't even know where to start. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start kind of like where the year started and then move it forward. So let's kind of like move and spread things around. I think I'm gonna start with this one. So this is the Nars Natural Radiant Foundation. This was at the very end of 2017, beginning of 2008, when everybody started using it, and I definitely have to give this one a shout out. This is high end. You will find this at Sephora. This is a pricey foundation. It's not like extremely pricey, like 60s, 70s, but it's definitely up there for high end. The Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation is so nice because it looks like second skin. It makes your skin look so beautiful and radiant, like a radiance from within, where people that have oily skin can wear it, but also people that have dry skin will be obsessed with it because it gives them that nice, fresh look without looking like you are dry or without looking like you're over oily if you do have oily skin. So this is one of those foundations that I feel worked for a lot of different types of skin this year, and I feel like so many people loved it because of how skin-like it felt. It was just such an airy, nice foundation. This also did have a good color range. I do have to say, back in my Sephora days, whenever people of different colors would come to pick out foundations, it would always be Makeup Forever and Nars that they would gravitate towards, because those were the two brands that always had good diverse selections. So they pretty much had a good selection, but I do have to say nowadays they're having so many more color ranges that I think is absolutely phenomenal. But I also like this because it does offer that good color selection for everybody, and it was a good situation. I like the fact that it feels so lightweight, but it still covers what it needs to cover. I do have rosacea, which means that I have that bright red rosy cheek situation going on my cheeks. And I just feel like for somebody that has those types of issues with their skin, whether it's rosacea or scars, when you can find something that is lightweight and covers really well, you're all up in that. Now I do have to say, for all the colors of the foundations that I speak about today, I will have them listed down below in my description box. You guys will see all the colors I am. In case you guys are a similar color to me, you will know. So this is the first one. This is kind of where my year started off. So then the next one I want to talk about is the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin. This is another one that you can find at your local Sephora's. This one, oh my goodness, I lived for this foundation. It is so beautiful. I do have to say I'm a huge fan of the Makeup Forever Matte. I think it's like Matte Velvet too. I'm not sure if this was like a better version of that, but I remember back when I used to work at Sephora, they had that other one that came out like in a squeezy tube similar to this, but it was a little bit harder to squeeze because it was a harder packaging on the outside. But that foundation worked so well with my oily skin, and this one did the exact same thing. Now this consistency in here is a little bit thicker than the consistency of the Nars. This one's a little bit more lightweight. It doesn't feel thick on the skin, but it's more of like a thicker consistency when you touch it, as you're about to put it on the skin. So this is one that I felt like just brought me back to my Sephora days when I used to work there. And it brought me back to like that really good full coverage, like just that really good full coverage finish where you need very little of this and bam, you're covered like that. So I always love those foundations that give you that full coverage finish right away without using too much of it, because those are the foundations that I like to use when I'm going to a party or somewhere where I want to look extra snatched. And that's what this offered, and it also offered my skin to just have this really good velvety finish and stay matte all day long. If you guys do have really oily skin, you know the struggle of finding something that will keep you nice and matte for a very long period of the day, because it's just hard. Like, you go a few hours into it and you're like, holy shit, I look like a grease ball. And you know, you don't have like a blotting tissue and you just don't know what to do. So you just kind of like are staring at yourself like, how did I get this far into this? So it's really good when you can find a foundation that really prevents you from getting too oily too quickly. This was a great foundation. I feel like not a lot of people spoke about this as much as I thought they would, but I really love this one, and I feel like it's great. It is great. So now I'm gonna go into a foundation that is Drugstore. This is another foundation that's excellent for people that have very oily skin. This is the LA Girl Pro Matte High Definition Longwear Foundation. Now, I'm not sure if this, I can't remember if, see, this is the issue. When you review so many foundations, you kind of forget where they stood on the time frame of the year, or if it came out the year earlier and you just got to it this year. But this foundation is so beautiful. It is very similar to the consistency and how the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin wears, except I do have to say this one does look a little bit more like you are wearing foundation because it is a bit thicker than the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet. But I can promise you that your skin will be absolutely beautiful and matte all day long. If you are looking for a true matte foundation, this is what you're looking for, because this is just the perfect amount of matte where it just soaks up all those oils and makes sure that nothing passes through. So unless you have really oily skin, I wouldn't recommend this, because you're gonna be like, holy shit, I look so matte right now, this isn't working for me. But if you have very oily skin and you need something that's gonna stay in place and lock it in, LA Girl Pro Matte is where it's at. It also gives you that very perfected, almost like filter finish. And it's also very inexpensive. LA Girl is very, very affordable. So I would really recommend this to anybody who's looking for that very matte, perfected, almost like a porcelain doll finish. This is what you're going to get out of it, because it's a good situation. I'm telling you right now, very, very good thing happening here. You guys may be like, really? You like that one? And this is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, girl, that came out years ago, and it did, because I remember, I think it was 2015. I went to Generation Beauty in LA, and they were giving away like free foundations, and my sisters were like all about that. I was trying to meet all the YouTubers. But this foundation came out years back, I know that. But this year they partnered with Jackie Aina, and I think they also had started to establish more colors in this foundation. I think it's because a lot of people were really, really passionate and really love this foundation, which I have to say, this foundation is absolutely beautiful. This isn't the perfect foundation for somebody that has oily skin. You will be like, this is like getting me all sorts of oily. I get it. But I'm picking a range of foundations that are good for everybody. That's why I'm talking about this. But also, I personally like how it looked on me. Even though I have oily skin for the first 5 hours, I feel like it looked absolutely beautiful. Very skin-like. It reminds me a lot of the Giorgio Armani foundation, the Luminous Silk. It gives you that very silky finish. It doesn't feel like you have any foundation on, but you look in the mirror and you're like, girl, I'm hella snatched today and I'm living. This is just that type of foundation. So the reason why I gravitated towards it this year was because they finally had a shade that matched me. When I first tried this out in 2015, the shade that I had was so dark, I legit looked muddy. And you know that feeling when you look at yourself and you have the wrong shade and it's too dark and you just look so muddy, and you're like, oh my God, I look awful right now, because this is just like 3 shades darker than me and it's not working out. I could never find my perfect match in this foundation that I was like, thank you, next. And I feel like that can also play a big role for somebody not to like a foundation if they cannot find their perfect match. So I give Too Faced props for partnering with a woman of color who could help them make shades that would work for women of color. I definitely feel like this deserves a shout out because they did that. And I also feel like the formula is worth talking about. It's a very nice formula. I also feel like the times that I have used this with a mattifying primer and the times that I've set my makeup and used my matte setting spray, this has lasted for probably about 7 or 8 hours. So an add-on of like 2 to 3 hours for people that do have oily skin if they set it properly. Now, if you're somebody who has combo skin to dry skin, you're really going to like this, especially my ladies who have dry skin and my gents who have dry skin. People that have normal skin, you're also gonna love this because it's wonderful and it has really good coverage. It's not a foundation where you see that sheer coverage and you're like, oh my God, I need to keep building and building and building. It gives you that good coverage where it's not like, holy shit, this is too much. And it's not like, oh, this is too little. Okay, so next up for foundation, we need to talk about NYX Cosmetics doing the damn thing with the Can't Stop, Won't Stop foundation. This foundation was absolutely phenomenal. Everything about it, in my eyes, I'm like, thank you. Okay, first let's just talk about the color range. The color range was absolutely phenomenal. They partnered with another woman of color, Alyssa Ashley. She did the damn thing with the color range. It was absolutely great what they did there, especially for my drugstore brands, because I have to say, drugstore does not have a lot of brands that sell these huge color selections. They just don't. And I just felt like there's a shade for everybody, and that always makes me really happy to see. So this one right here is a matte foundation. It has a gorgeous finish and it's very, very long wearing for a very good price. I know a lot of us are on a budget. A lot of us don't want to spend $30+ on a foundation. It's not realistic for your budget, and that's totally okay, which is why I was so proud of drugstore brands for doing so much with their foundations this year to offer really, really good quality foundations for people that just realistically don't want to go into a Sephora and spend that much money. This year, over and over in my reviews, you guys saw me mention drugstore's killing it, drugstore's killing it. Their formulas are better than a lot of high-end formulas I'm seeing. I'm seeing them compete very heavily with a lot of high-end brands, and I'm loving it. Whenever I can find something for you guys that's affordable and that you can easily get your hands on, I'm just like, here you go, please get it. And that's what I live for. Those are the reviews that I live for, when I can give you a good affordable product, because I know makeup is expensive. And this was one of those moments where I was just like, oh my God, I'm so happy that this worked, because now I can tell them to go get this. And this was just such a good foundation, and I remember all the times that I would wear it. You know when you were doing your makeup and it just turns out so beautiful and you're just like dancing and you're like, oh my God, yes. Like it's working so perfectly and you just love it and you're so in the moment that you're just doing that little happy dance. That was me every time I applied this foundation, and knowing that the color range was so good, I was like so happy that it was all aligning for me. So this was one that really made a big statement for me in 2018. I do have to say the primer that this was like launched with was some shit. I do not recommend that primer. Did not work for me. There's way better primers, and that just was not one for me, but this foundation was the one for me. Okay, now I want to talk about another foundation that really surprised me, that I was like, holy shiz, this is really good. This is the Wonder Beauty Nude Illusion Liquid Foundation. Now this foundation was interesting because every time I would look at it and would want to review it, I was scared, just because everybody that liked it had that really dry skin, that normal skin, and they were like, oh my God, I look so dewy and beautiful. And I was like, thank you, next. Because as an oily skin girl, you get that all day long. You're just like, ugh, no, I don't want oil. I don't want dew. I don't want none of that. I want matte. So this was like, And then I saw Beauty Bird, Yasmin, talk about it, and she loved it, and it looks so beautiful on her. And I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and review this. Let me go ahead and try it. And first things first, I love this packaging. I never thought I would say that. I think I was even like, what is this? Where's the doe foot applicator? But this is really nice because you guys know I like to dot my foundation, and my fingers get dirty, my white nails get dirty. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? But it's really nice that I was just able to like look in the mirror, apply the foundation, and then start blending it out, and bam, I was done. And then once I put it on my skin, I was like, whoa, this is beautiful. It felt like skin. It looked really nice on my skin. It gave me this beautiful radiance from within. I don't know what it was this year, but this year was all about having a foundation on my skin that looked like my skin. Yes, of course, I live for those really full coverage, like, bam, I'm wearing a full face of makeup looks. But this year I got really into just having something that really looked like my skin, but also had that radiance where you could still tell that it was like my glowy skin, and not so much like, oh my gosh, she looks like she's wearing una torta de maquillaje. Like, it just wasn't that intense. And it's also a very buildable foundation. If you want to go for a more natural look, dots of it, and you have a more natural look. If you want to build it up to a like fuller coverage look, you can definitely do that. So this is one of those foundations that is buildable, but it builds up in the most beautiful way where your skin still looks like skin, even if you do use a little bit more. And it does give you that radiance. So I'm not going to sit here and say for oily skin, go get this, because, you know, if you do have oily skin and you don't like a little bit of dew through the hours, then you probably won't like this. But this is definitely more so for my people that have dry skin, normal skin. I would recommend this to people that have oily skin because I personally love it. It doesn't give you that nasty, like, oh my gosh, she's so dewy right away. But if you do prep it the right way, I think you will see it wear better for longer. But I just love the fact that this is one of those foundations that you can build up, but it still gives you that beautiful skin-like finish through all those layers of you building it up. And now we need a water break before I can't finish the last four. So Essential water, I try to drink 1 liter a day because, you know, hydration is key. That was excellent. Okay, so now I want to talk about another drugstore. Actually, the last 4 are all drugstore. That's how much I love drugstore foundations this year. This is the Colourpop No Filter Stick. This was another one that I really didn't see that many people talk about. They did have a pretty great color range, I can't lie. And I have to say, this was one of my favorite foundation sticks that I've seen thus far, especially for people that have oily skin. You guys know that a lot of times foundation sticks are more geared towards people that have the dry skin, normal skin, because foundation sticks have to be obviously creamy for them to work. You don't want them to be like matte and dry and like not be able to swipe. But this was just so beautiful, and it just glided on the skin so smooth, but still gave you that very perfected, almost soft matte finish, where it wasn't like you were like super glowy or looked super like wet. I feel like a lot of foundation sticks can give you that very wet look as you're swiping it and you're blending it, but this didn't do that, but it blended out so beautifully as well. So I was like, this is a good look. This is just something that I really enjoyed. I was not a big fan of their liquid foundation, to be honest. It wasn't bad, it just didn't stick out to me like this one did. And I just love the fact that it's so skinny and nice, so I can easily take this for traveling. And I just feel like foundation sticks are very portable products that you can take anywhere. And it was good that I was able to find a foundation that worked for my skin type, a foundation stick that worked for my skin type. So the next product I want to talk about is one that I was like iffy about, and I think it was more so because of the like foundation mixer that came with it, but I fell in love with this foundation and I've been using it a lot. This is the Kokie. I'm sorry. If you guys want to like spell it out like the sound out way, phonics down below, then you can go ahead and do that. But I think it's Kokie. I think so. This is a Maryland-based brand. They have like their warehouse, I think factory or something in Maryland, which is so cool because I'm a Maryland girl. So I'm like, this is Maryland right here, and it's amazing. So this foundation, OMG. Every time I wear this foundation and I take a picture, and no filter people. You guys know I love filters. Who doesn't love filters? Filters make you look so beautiful and snatched. But every time I take a picture with no filter with this foundation, my skin looks absolutely phenomenal. Almost like I have a filter, and I don't have any filter. Very long wearing, and it gives me a very, very nice soft matte finish through the day where my skin doesn't get oily like that for a good 6.5 hours, which is a lot for me because I do get oily really quickly. And I just love the fact that it doesn't transfer easily. It just stays on the skin and it works its magic and it's good to go. So this was definitely one that I slept on a little tiny bit. I'm not gonna lie, when I was reviewing it. I was like, you know what, let me try without the foundation mixer, which I actually threw away because I did not like that foundation mixer. It was way too thick. The foundation isn't like that. And I threw that away and I kept the foundation and I kept trying it and trying it. And the more I used it, I was like, oh my God, this is stunning. And it doesn't feel like you have heavy foundation on your face. That was another thing for 2018. A lot of the foundations that I reviewed and tried and loved, they felt very skin-like. The consistencies aren't like they were back in 2013, 2014, when it was just, you could feel like really thick, but you still wore it because you wanted that super snatched look. These coming years, the foundations have been very lightweight and airy, where it just feels like your skin. It doesn't even feel like you have nothing on. So this was one that every time I looked in the mirror, I was like, whoa, I'm wearing makeup and I look phenomenal. So now I want to talk about another foundation that is more recent. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear. So this kind of reminds me of the Nars Radiant. Very similar, except this one is much more affordable. So I want to talk about this one. You guys know L'Oreal does such a beautiful job of coming out with great infallible foundations. They have their Pro Matte and then they have their Pro Glow. And they're so good. Like, people that have dry skin love the Pro Glow. People that have oily skin love the Pro Matte. And then they came out with this one, which is the Fresh Wear. And this one is like the perfect mix of both of them. For you guys who do not want something that's super matte, but doesn't want something that's super dewy or glowy, this is the perfect match for you guys, because it's that perfect in between. Okay, now we're on to the last foundation that just blew me off my socks. And I have to say right now to you guys, out of all the foundations that I talked about that are my favorites, that were the best in my eyes, this one is number one. This is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation. You can find this at Ulta, and they have several colors, and you're not gonna miss it because they have a huge display at Ulta's now for, what was it? Like $8 or so? I feel like it's no more than 10, but I may be wrong, so don't hold me accountable for that. But it's very affordable, which is the important part, right? So this foundation is the best foundation. Like, this foundation is my baby. Whenever I want to just kill it in the world, this is what I wear. And what I love about this, like I mentioned, a reason why I love the Wonder Beauty, because of its doe foot applicator. This foundation by Makeup Revolution has this doe foot applicator that I just love so much because I never get my fingers dirty. It's just like bam, 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 and it's on. It's full coverage. It doesn't feel heavy or thick whatsoever. It's the perfect in between. This match, F12, is like my perfect match of all time. Let me just stare at myself and just give myself compliments. When I look at my skin, because of how much and how fast it covers my skin, you will think, oh my God, it's probably cakey. It probably looks like she's wearing a lot of makeup, but it looks so skin-like, and it almost like blends right into my skin and like is soaking up by my skin and is just left like a layer of smooth, beautiful skin that I love it. And I feel like it just makes everything on top lay so nicely and so beautifully that I have no issues. I fell in love with this foundation. I wasn't a fan of their concealer, I have to admit. I know a lot of people compared it to the Tarte Shape Tape. I didn't like it, but their foundation, that was another story. And I swear by this foundation. Like, my skin, I just love how it looks with this foundation. So if 2019 has a foundation that can top this, I may cry. I'm telling you, Drugstore is competing with high-end, and they are taking the game by storm. So yeah, that's where I wrap up my 2018 best foundations in my eyes. These were the foundations that really stood out to me, and you guys know that I review a lot of foundations. For me to mention that says a lot. It says a lot about the foundations, and that was what really just shook me to the core. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I really hope that you found a foundation that you may be interested in, that you want to try out, because these are all excellent products. And I cannot wait to see what 2019 has in store for the foundation world. That being said, if you guys have been watching this video, please give it a big thumbs up because a lot more is coming in my foundation series. And also, please don't forget to check out the description box down below because I will have all the shades and everything you need to know about these foundation listed down below, so you guys can go ahead and check them out. Let me know what your favorite foundation of 2018 was because I would love to know or find new products to try out in case I haven't tried it out. And also, please don't forget to subscribe if you're new to my channel. I would love for you to become a member of family here on YouTube because I wouldn't want you guys to miss my videos for the world. And also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you're notified every single time I upload a new video. And I gotta go because my throat is killing me. So I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon for a brand new video. Bye, guys.